On, speakers on. Hey everybody, we're coming on. We're coming at you. There we are. Where's my picture? I have no video.
I see you.
I don't see me. I'm not on.
I see you.
I am not on the video screen. What happened?
Well, hey everybody. This is Keith. If you can see me, it's going to be the Keith show. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe I have to turn on my camera. Maybe is that helpful? Let's see.
I'm telling you, I can see you.
I don't see me. I see a large Skype logo in the middle of the screen, and I have no idea why. Did I accidentally turn off my... Hey, everybody. Welcome to This Show is a JK. I am Jason Tudor along with Keith Pennell, and we are having audio problems. Oh, there we go. I am on screen now. There I am in my St. Pauli hat and my Raider shirt. Nope, there it goes. I just left again. This is unbelievably weird.
Weird.
Yeah. This is weird.
Because you haven't left my screen.
I'm not going to take that down then. All right, there we are. We're on video now, and I'm excited to be with you. Welcome. We'd love to see your comments. Another Sunday show at 8 o'clock where we have once again not marketed ourselves very well, and we know you're not out there in video land. But anyway, we appreciate you joining us along as we keep the football on in the background, and we come to you on a Sunday, the last show of the year, right?
Yeah, yes.
And
that's a good idea.
The one before Christmas, the one before New Year's, and the one that catches you all as you transition into your possible Christmas and summer, or not summer, New Year's vacations.
I wish.
So what's going on?
Man, it's just, COVID. My last 2 weeks have been all COVID.
Yeah.
COVID. That's COVID screwing me in the ass, is what that is. COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm not liking it at all. But, what Germany has done, we alluded to last week, what Germany has done is, hey, PJ.
We are dropping frames like a mother. Keep going. I'll try to work this out.
PJ and Ray. I was looking to see who was here. COVID has tightened down here in Germany.
Yeah.
Basically, everything is closed except essential services.
Right.
Now, what that means is you can go out and get food, medical supplies, baby things, things like that, but no haircuts, no. In America, it would be your Lowe's and your Home Depots are closed.
Right.
That kind of thing. So it's tough. What I will say for me personally,
right,
hasn't changed a whole lot because I haven't gone out, and what the military has done in Kaiserslautern anyway, Kaiserslautern Ramstein, is we were kind of already there. What we had to close as of Wednesday was barbershops and beauty shops. We had to close the Rod and Gun Club retail part, so you can go in and buy bullets, shotgun shells, or arrows, or whatever.
Right.
And there was something else. Holy crap! Now I can't think. But anyway, so little things like that. Our front door services, our ID cards, our HR,
right,
our things like that are still open. You may have to make an appointment, but those are still open. We started teleworking a lot. Did you do that? Because your picture just disappeared.
I did, because I'm trying to fix the video on the screen, and I just can't get it to work. This is really strange. Keep going. You're doing good. And then I'll jump in with my COVID-y stuff. All right, we'll leave that there.
There's a lot of teleworking right now, which if you've been with us for...
Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Started this.
Chime in on the chat as Keith's talking.
Since we started this way back in, I believe it was April when we started this.
Right.
Way to go, McFly. Leave us with Biff to cover the... Oh, nice. He called you McFly. and I'm Biff.
Hey, I'm the cute one then. That's what that matters.
Yeah. So, but it's, if you're... That's why we started this show, was to talk about COVID from Germany.
It really is.
Perspective.
Right.
And what we're dealing with. And right now, it's not much different for us. Teleworking, I absolutely abhor. But since I don't have anybody directly across from me right now, anybody else in my little office, well, I don't have to telework right now. So I'm holding down the fort while everybody's on leave or
You're
doing other jobs, like being somebody big and high and
Stop
mighty
it.
in the
Seriously,
workforce.
you need to stop
Uh,
that. I am about as high and mighty. I am a, what is that? The line from Apocalypse Now? I'm a messenger carrying a bill for groceries, right? It's not that big a deal. So yeah, my take on this, and we've got 4 or 5 people online with us right now, and please weigh in the chat with us if you would. We would love to talk COVID with you and talk about this. This is as restrictive as it was back in April, May, right? So this is, or March, April.
except without the
This is almost
right now, there's
HP
no
Con
closed
Charlie.
direct.
Not everything is closed, and we're not like stapled to our chairs, but it's not bad. It's pretty close. Keith and I were talking right before the show, and we were talking about just like where would you go? Keith was talking about sneaking off to a place that he and I both like, and it's kind of like I'm afraid to, right? You don't know what's going to happen. Other states I've heard, like Baden-Württemberg or some others, allegedly are writing tickets to people who are crossing the border and coming in, like from KL or wherever it might be. So if you're like,
Unless you're on business.
right, yeah, right. So if you're like, hey, I'll go get a donor up in,
Mannheim.
yeah, right, which is what we've done. If they see your parked car there as a KL, they'll come and get you. So it's emotionally it's interesting. I actually feel like when we started the one back in March, April, I was like, all right, we'll just tough through this. We'll do what we can. And I'm a homebody anyway, so I don't mind not traveling, right? That's no big deal to me. But now
Hey, George Brown.
this is a little different. This is a little, yeah, I saw the thing on the UK strain, George. This is a little different. This just, and plus it's the holidays and we expect to be sort of close to people, and, it's just sucks. So yeah, I agree. It would maximum telework, the whole thing is just, it's difficult. So I agree with you.
Well, and our job and us as people, we like the interaction
hungry.
of other human beings. There's a lot of work, a lot of types of jobs where you don't necessarily interact with
Right.
a lot of human beings.
Right.
Public affairs, it's in the name of our job.
Hi, Dad.
So we
Good to
do
see you, Dad.
interact with-
Dad says he's locked up. I don't know what that means. Hope he's not in jail.
I don't know.
Finally.
Man, does he need bail? 'Cause I ain't got it.
I ain't got it.
But hey, Dad, good to see you. Your dad.
Woo-hoo.
So we do interact with a lot of people.
Right.
So it is tough, a little bit tough to do our job when there's a lockdown, that kind of thing. All of our meetings are on MS Teams.
Right.
And so it is tough. You get told one thing and you go, wait. That's not my job.
Right.
It's not even in the realm of my job, but you got to do it. Well, okay.
Dad says he's in.
And that's it.
Dad says he's in Facebook jail. I wonder if he ran his mouth too much. I'm sure he'll say that as much. That's too bad.
What did you post and share it with us?
He got to post some crazy shit. That's why I can't look at some of his posts sometimes. They drive me nuts. But he's still my dad and I love him, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so it's as draconian as it's ever been, and we. Keith and I.
For good reason.
Right. Yeah, no. It truly is. It's not that we're sitting there going, oh, we want our freedoms. It's not that. It is what it is, right? And, these people who are like, I'm going to go do my freedom. Again, George is pointing out that apparently there's a new strain that's harder to detect and, easier to catch or something. So, make up a vaccine. Convenient that there's a new strain right after the vaccine came out. So that's really weird. They even moved the Rose Bowl to Dallas?
About that in a moment. Yep, I've got that coming up later.
All right. So let's
Thanks for stealing my thunder, PJ.
let's shift gears. We need to talk about the Mandalorian, right? So I think by the time.
need to.
So if you're listening and you don't want a Mandalorian spoiler, hop off, go away, sayonara. Come back in about 10 minutes. Because we're going to talk Mandalorian and the things we saw and how the reaction is and how it gave me new faith in Star Wars. All right, I'll give you a 3, 2, 1 if you want to bail, okay? 3, 2, 1. Okay, Mandalorian spoilers from here on out.
Fan-fucking-tastic.
It was amazing. Yeah, it was amazing, and I wasn't sure where it was leading to. So I guess the wonderful part of that, the whole thing was wonderful for sure, but one of the wonderful parts of it was you didn't know who was coming, right? You saw a single X-wing and you thought, okay, maybe that's
There have been X-wings in the show before.
right. So it could have been those two fat cops.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It could have been those two fat cops, right? I mean, not in the same X-wing. Maybe it was a two-seater. We didn't know. But I was thinking, okay, could be Luke, but I'm saying, okay, they would have had to have made him younger. Or it could be Kenobi because they're doing the spin-off series, right? So the anticipation of that was fantastic. And then you had that same moment that you got from Rogue One where Darth Vader comes in and whips ass with his lightsaber. And I think Favreau did that on purpose to kind of say Darth Vader's not the only badass in the galaxy, right? His son is pretty badass too. And then when he pulls his hood off and it's Luke Skywalker, I mean, I just, based on the reactions that I saw online from all my friends, I imagine just people going just freaking apeshit when they saw that.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the green saber was kind of a giveaway, and then the look of the saber was also a giveaway. My stupid cat is locked in the room with me, and he wants to get out pretty bad. Fuck him. But, but yeah, that was huge. And then, God damn it, and then it's so the emotion of, him finally letting go of Grogu, and this is here. Where is he? That's not a Grogu. That is a Yoda, actually, above my shoulder.
That's a Yoda.
If you're watching from your home base.
What is that above your left shoulder?
Captain America head.
I'm pointing like everybody can see me. What is that above your left shoulder, hanging from the ceiling?
Oh, that is a B-wing fighter.
To your left.
The greatest
That's
Star Wars.
right.
That's the greatest Star Wars fighter there ever is, which makes a couple of cameos in the last Star Wars movie, which I liked. Wasn't featured, but it shouldn't be. It's kind of a hangback. So that whole emotion of him having to hand over Grogu and letting go, and then the helmet comes up, and you're like, "Oh no, don't do that." That was tough.
Yeah.
That was tough.
I was a little bit upset about that. Yeah. Now he can't go back to the armor and say, "No, I've never showed my face." So no, I think it was a fantastic show. I avoided it. I avoided downloading Disney Plus. I didn't want another monthly payment. I didn't think I would get anything out of Disney Plus.
Right.
But I'm glad I did. Just today, I watched Rise of Skywalker again.
Did you like it?
Which you and I have talked about this before. You and I saw it for the first time together right after we got here.
Oh, Dad's a Mandalorian fan. Who knew?
I think Rise of Skywalker is the best of the last three movies.
Yeah.
What do you think? Yeah.
I agree. I completely agree, actually. But on the other hand, it's also kind of forgettable. A lot of the things that happen in the film.
I don't disagree with
that. I think a lot of the things that happen in the film. I remember because I went and saw it twice when it debuted in the theater, in our Ramstein theater when that was still a thing, and I thought when I walked away from it, I thought, okay, that was great. But about a week later, I wasn't going, man, that moment when. And even when I watched it the other night, I was like, okay, yep, mostly forgettable. I mean, I hate that because at least so Last Jedi is the one, that's controversy. It's either you hate it or you love it. And I still am somewhere toward hate, but sort of middling on it, right? But there's moments. There's moments you remember, like the starship going through the spaceship at light speed. That's a moment, right? And that's the one. That's the moment that made me go because that was just like, holy shit, that's new, that's different, right? And it had moments. The moment where he sort of brushes the stuff off his shoulder, and that he was a ghost the whole time. I remembered that. I didn't necessarily like the direction that Star Wars took in that, but hang on, I need to move your face down here so it's near my camera, that way I look like. So I didn't necessarily like the direction it took, but I liked the moments. He created some Star Wars-y moments that I really enjoyed. Rise of Skywalker was a fun film. It's great to watch. In fact, I'll probably watch it again this week, but I don't remember anything about it. It's like, okay, it opened it, or it closed it rather. The end. That's it. The Mandalorian is 10 times it's like if Star Wars was a drug and you were taking it, the doses that you got from the last 3 sequels would still give you your high, and you'd be like, heroin is great, right? If Mandalorian was that same drug, you would have OD'd 5 times over. That's the amount of Star Wars that's in The Mandalorian. It is as my friend Mike posted to his story, Mike, my former podcasting partner and good friend over the years, he put, there's one side is J.J. Abrams saying there's no way to bridge the gap between the old Star Wars fans and the new Star Wars fans. And on the right side is Jon Favreau. And what does Jon Favreau say? Hold my fucking beard. Yeah. So, and that's absolutely what happened. So, kudos for that. And kudos for just... each episode was fun to watch. Each episode was exactly what I think George Lucas intended in the first place. He got Star Wars was intended to be like the old 30s, 40s Flash Gordon serials. That's exactly what these were. And although there were some sort of ridiculous things and things you kind of went, okay, at least you were like, that's what this is, right? Final note from me, and again, I'm talking too much, and Keith hates that. But he finished his wine too. Now, where's that wine from? Before I go on with my last point about Mandalorian, is it German wine?
It's from Germany.
It's a German wine.
Dornfelder.
Right.
Dornfelder. Yeah, red wine. Kind of it's not too dry, not too sweet, right in the middle.
All right.
And it has an oaky barrel
Finoki
with a little bit of butter and some spice in it. Fantastic.
A lot of tannins. Anyway. A lot of tannins. So a
lot of tannins.
And I said this on my personal Facebook feed, and I think Keith saw this as well. Bill Burr, I think, was the surprise, the standout of the series to me in either season.
Yes.
His performance in 15 before the finale, I think pretty sure it was 15, where he goes into the mine and helps them out. There was some real emotion to it. It had some of his shtick in it, but it was really played effectively. Really can't say enough about that. And my runner-up for that would be...
You are a big Bill Burr fan.
I am. Bill Burr is a fantastic comedian.
Yeah,
great,
fantastic.
Great observational comedian.
There was nobody in this season, in this series,
right,
has been an anchor that's like, you know what, I could do without them.
Right.
Nobody's been, and it's. I had a point I was going to make, and now I forgot it because we moved on to something else.
But my runner-up is...
that's what I was going to say.
All right.
By the way, George...
George
said he'll be back in 10. So, not to wrap this up, but to make a final point here.
Yep.
You saw the after credits scene, I know.
Of course.
So, what do you think is next December going to be like? Are we going to see Grogu? Are we going to see Mando? Or is it all going to be Boba Fett on Tatooine?
Well, it did say the Book of Fett, so I mean that's interesting to me. And Boba Fett wasn't. I like how they renewed his armor for that last episode too. That was cool as hell.
Yes.
So I don't know. That's an interesting question because I thought when he handed over Grogu, I was like, okay, now what? What exactly what you thought? What is the direction? So it'll be interesting to see. I loved it. Best TV show I've watched in a very long time. I started to get back into Bosch. All right, we're done with spoilers now, so you can come back. You should type that in the chat. I got back into Bosch again, and hang on a second. I'll type it into the chat. You got it. Okay. I started to get back into Bosch again, and I picked up seasons 3 and 4, and season 3 was brilliant. Season 4 was great. And then I started watching season 5. I got about a half an episode in, and I'm like, this sucks. So not necessarily that the show sucks. It's just I wasn't on board with what they were trying to do. So I've got to find it. Maybe it's this week. I'll gut through it. The great thing about Bosch is, though, I could sit there and just fast forward through a lot of the other shit that I don't care about, a lot of the politicking and the bullshit soap opera stuff. I really just want Bosch to be an episode of Columbo where he goes in and solves a crime. That's what I like. That's the mystery I like. I don't want it to be solve crime, mayor sucks, background stuff of hurt and stabby people, and then, I just want solve crime. That's what I want. So, in any case, I stopped watching that. But anyway,
my 3 right now that I've got going, 2 have ended, and 1 is throws all the seasons out there at one time. So, Star Trek Discovery,
okay,
which I thought was really good. I thought the last episode was a little weird.
Okay,
and Mandalorian and the Umbrella Academy.
Yeah, Annabelle loves the Umbrella Academy.
Right now, I've already gone through The Boys.
Right.
Hannah, the newest season of Hannah.
Montana.
and a couple of other things. There are some others I want to watch
All right.
that have been getting rave reviews on social media.
So we have.
But The Mandalorian is fantastic.
What streaming services do you subscribe, if any?
I have Prime.
All right.
I have Netflix.
What do you and Chatland? Tell us what the ones you subscribe to as well. You have Prime and Netflix. Do you have Hulu?
And Disney Plus.
And Disney Plus. So we have Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO Max, and Apple. No, not Apple TV. That's it. Those are I think those. There may be one more that we never watched. But like we've only watched HBO Max like twice. And we will watch HBO Max on the 23rd because Wonder Woman 1984 will premiere. The challenge lately, though, is the VPN hasn't really been effective. I think some of the services have sniffed out the VPN, or it might just be my TV downstairs. I haven't quite figured out which is which yet. So, I was always just curious. But Disney Plus is going to have a lot to offer over the coming years with all of the things, including the Moon Knight series and all the other series. Initially, their initial offering to me was kind of like, okay, I'm not really interested in a Wanda and Scarlet Witch or a Vision and Scarlet Witch TV show. The Vision was one of my first favorite characters, right? But I was like, that doesn't interest me. And that's basically how I make my TV choices. I'll just go, nope, and that's it. Regardless of what it is. Even getting tagged on to Bosch for as long as it was it took a while. So you are watching this show and listening to this show as a JK. Hi everybody, it's been good to see you. It's your pals. It's your pals Jason Tudor and Parnell Powell with you for about an hour or so. We might run a little longer.
I hate you so much.
That was funny though. That's a good one, isn't it? That's a great portmanteau, I believe is what it's called. Portmanteau of your name.
I was going to make a point about.
Okay, PJ said, hang on. PJ said Disney, Prime, Netflix, CBS, HBO Max, and Hulu. Right. And that's, you know what? In the olden days, they used to bundle these things and give you a box, and that was called fucking cable. Now they just milk you for every. So soon, what's going to happen now? What's going to be the thing that happens in 3 fucking years is some company's going to say, you know what we've done is we've managed to package all of these services, and you pay one fee for them. It's like, okay, we're just doing the same shit over and over and over again.
They're bleeding you $9.99 a month at a time.
Hey, before you get to your point, we are available on iTunes. I did finish my roll. iTunes, Spotify, and everything else. Keith and I are going to have a sit down after this and come up with our 2021 plan to make sure you're all involved, all the stalwart supporters, and make sure that we market our show better, which is mostly on me, admittedly, but as Keith said, it has been a trying time with COVID, and I did get a new job, so I've had to focus my attentions on other things. But anyway, excuses, but we're going to be better next year. It's going to be great. So go ahead, man. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Hey, Connie Maurer, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Going back to Star Wars for just a minute. Not Mandalorian. You don't have to walk away. Rise of Skywalker. I told you I watched that today.
I'm not bashing Scarlet Witch, by the way, Ray. The show doesn't interest me. I'm a big Scarlet Witch character fan, but the show doesn't interest me.
You said there was nothing that was memorable to you. I will disagree with this.
Rise of Skywalker. Okay.
When Chewie found out Leia died and howled and collapsed and cried, I shed tears. Well, I had tears in my eyes tonight, and I knew what was coming. So that scene of Rise of Skywalker is the one that gets me every time.
Yeah, I totally get that. And again, it's different strokes for different folks, right? And to me, the welcome to everybody.
Different strokes.
Welcome everybody who's joined us. We're up to 8 viewers tonight. That's good. Again, join us in the chat, please. We want to hear from you and see you. This is our last show of the year, so sign in. Wherever you might be, go to the chat on the show page. And again, different strokes. I just felt it was not as vanilla as The Force Awakens, which was, by most people's accounts, just a remake of Star Wars. But there was vanilla to me. But I like some of the set pieces, like when they go to get the Wayfinder on the planet with all the water and the piece of the Death Star. I love that. That was cool. The set piece with The Palpatine set piece was very cool. Those were memorable to me, I guess, because as an illustrator, I like that kind of stuff. But there just weren't these sort of crystallizing moments. Even and I'm sure you agree with this, even this sort of transformation of Ren into Ben, it felt a little hollow, right? It's like, okay, I have murdered all these people.
Yeah.
But now I'm gonna, and I get the redemption part. I'm totally good with the redemption part, and then the whole life force thing. But it just even because I should have felt that a little bit better, and I just didn't. So, switching gears now.
I get you, and I completely understand. Yes.
Switching gears to
Pushing the clutch. Let's go.
All right, so Keith and I talk sports. We haven't seen Matt Davis in a while, and that makes me sad.
Wait a second.
What?
Hold on a second.
Shoot.
We said drop the clutch, which makes me remember Connie Maurer. I learned her son, my best friend in high school, Randall, between him and my mom, taught me how to drive a stick shift.
Oh.
To this day, I can still drive a stick shift, and I learned a lot in her with Randall driving in her 1985 Dodge Daytona, which is a classic car.
It really is.
From the 80s.
Yeah, it totally is.
And so, Connie, I won't tell you the things what he taught me how to drive in that car, but it's a.
That sounds sexual. Did you
drive your car.
Some sort of weird automotive 69 or something like that? That's.
And just because I say stick shift is not a euphemism. So
it really depends on the night. I want to show, if you're watching at home, I want to show people this patch. I showed it to young Parnell here earlier. I forget where I got it from. I think it was an Instagram patch thing. I follow something called #morale patches, and I do collect them, as you know. Of course, this is from The Rock, and it says, "Your best loser." I should do it with Sean Connery. Like, "Your best losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and fuck the prom queen."
Winners go home and fuck the prom queen.
Fuck the prom queen.
That's right.
So that's another great morale patch. I could never wear that. There's nowhere to wear it.
No.
And I'm not one to, if it's like it got an X.
Like golf.
So I think my dad would like that. But he said, Makani said he never told me that. Now you got him in trouble. College football is coming to a head, and for a report on who's in and who's out, we go to Keith Pinnell in our sports desk. Keith, go ahead.
Let's see. About an hour and a half ago, ESPN broke the news that it will be Bama versus Notre Dame in the Rose Bowl.
Fucking Notre Dame.
Clemson versus Ohio State in the Sugar Bowl. Sugar?
I like sugar.
Sugar Bowl.
Zucca.
Texas A&M is on the outside looking in. They will play OU, Boomer Sooner, in the
Consolation Bowl,
the Sugar Bowl, or not Sugar Bowl, either the Orange Bowl or the Cotton Bowl. So it's Bama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Ohio State. I'm still of a conviction that this whole friggin' season should have been canceled.
Don't ever try to do the Connery voice again, PJ says. Agree, it is what it is. I think, to be fair, and Notre Dame still weirds me, but the other three schools did put the maximum effort in this year, despite the COVID, and sort of fought through things. I didn't realize Notre Dame was that good this year. I didn't realize Texas A&M was that good this year. I knew Jimbo Fisher was a good coach, but I didn't realize he had done as well as he did this year. So that's very interesting to me. That sounds like it'll be a great game, Texas A&M and OU. USC, they did whatever they could this year. I can't say much. I should have worn my USC hat. But that's an interesting Final Four. At least it'll be quality football, I think, in terms of those games. Are they waiting till New Year's to play again? Are they holding off?
Yeah, it will be New Year's Day. Yeah, the playoffs will be New Year's Day.
Okay.
And as PJ says, Ohio State has no business being in the Final Four. They won 6 games, which means they only played 6 games.
Yeah, my dad said Disney Plus, Netflix, and Hulu. I think that's pretty much the consensus, by the way. Right. So, and all again, if you think we go back to the numbers of D1, D2, D3, or whatever they're called now. Somebody will correct me in the chat and tell me what the hell they are now. But I mean, it's like I still think it's like 130 D1, 230 D2, and then whatever in the D3. And if one day, if you get a chance, Keith, go back 90 years, look at the college polls from way back. Okay, when you do that, you're going to see Army, Navy, Harvard, Yale, SC, and Notre Dame. Get to the 60s. segregation comes into play. The universities change. You start to see the Alabamas, LSU's. Texas was a big one back then. Ohio State, Penn State, and so on and so forth, right? So what my point is, you just sort of see the same lineup of colleges from the 60s on. They just sort of change places. And I don't necessarily have a problem with that. The problem comes along when you get a college, as we were trying to suss out before we figured out there was no sound, that you get the University of Central Floridas that come in that have a great team, who had been in the D1, I think, for about 10 years. That's where Dante Culpepper went to school. I got to see him play live. I've never seen anybody throw a football as hard as he has. But they were good, but they should have been ranked into the championship, right? But there was just no way to do that. So I wanted to get your opinion on that, just because I think it's an interesting conversation.
I agree. I'm on record as saying this football season, this sports season, should have just not happened.
Right.
But, I have no problem. This year you have Coastal Carolina,
right?
Who beat Brigham Young.
Who to me is a classic Final Four bracket team. Coastal Carolina. That's what that is.
Yeah. So this season's good for things like that.
Right.
What it's bad for is a 6-win Ohio State who has not played a team with a winning record.
Yep.
Is in the Final Four.
Right.
Because they're Ohio State. Clemson has one loss. Now, granted, that was without the female fashion model they have as quarterback. But
touchdown Jesus. Yeah, football Jesus.
Yeah, touchdown Trevor Lawrence, yes.
Touchdown Jesus in Notre Dame. We'll call him football Jesus.
Football Jesus, yes.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, he's going to go number one. He's a great quarterback. We'll see what he can do in the pros.
Right.
So I'm okay with Alabama, I guess, as much as I hate Alabama. I'm okay with Clemson.
Right.
I hate Notre Dame. How is it every year, and it goes back to what you were talking about 90 years ago, when Notre Dame was with the Armies and the Princetons and the Harvards.
Yep.
That's still instilled in our brain that, hey, Notre Dame, they're going to be a great team every year.
Right.
They're not.
No.
They suck every year. This year they're doing pretty good.
They don't suck every year. Actually, they're a pretty good team every year in the way that, sort of in the way that Michigan is a pretty good team every year. But Michigan has not been pretty good this year, and I think I think Jim Harbaugh brings a lot of burnout to teams where he goes to coach. They proved that when he coached the 49ers, even though they made it to the Super Bowl. And I think he's proven that with Michigan. I think he's taken them about as far as they can go, in my opinion. But Notre Dame usually has a winning season. The difference, though, between a winning season and like a national championship era is, there's some there. All right, so we'll come back to sports in a minute. We'll talk about NFL. I want to talk to you a little bit about these photos that my aunt sent me. So one of the Hanukkah gifts that I got from my aunt.
Do I really want to see these?
Well, I mean,
you want to show your little tallywhack? I don't want to see that.
Well, come on now. I mean, I had to get these blown up, but anyway, no. These are photos of things that I hadn't seen in like forever, right? So, it came with a sweatshirt from North Seaconk. I was really proud of that. But these were photos, and a lot of these I'd never seen before. I'm guessing that belonged to my mother, and she sent along. But of like when we were on Midway Island, when we go pay a visit to relatives, mostly back east, of course. Now this is, I'm going to try to put this on camera for those of you at home. I'm the guy in the middle. I'm sorry this is blurry. But I'm the guy in the middle who weighs 130 pounds. My stepdad is the one on the left, and then my aunt is the one on the right. And I am wearing, do you remember the Pittsburgh Pirates hats that look like they were circular at the top and they had the little yellow rings? Well, this is a red and white version of that. Yeah, you can't see it's blurry, but you have to trust me. So there's stuff like that. So the stuff that really got me, though, was there were some really great pictures of my mom when she was young, and I had none of that. So it was like, this is a great picture of my mom. I love that one. She would hate it because she probably thinks she's fat. But let me show you this one other picture. And then I'll tell you why I'm bringing this all. This is a house, one of the houses I lived in San Diego, at a place called Selma Place. There's that.
Nice.
And then, all right, so let me get you to this one photo. I just have to find it. Midway Island, yes. Where's the one I want to see? Is it in the other batch? I hope not. Is that my dad? No. Sorry, la. Taking up too much time. I know. Fill with something. Sing or dance or something.
I'm trying to get a watch party going again.
Yeah.
Let's see. You know, one thing I never remembered about Germany
Yeah.
as a kid is how fucking gray it is.
No shit. Okay, here it is. Go ahead. Finish.
Gray.
It's no joke.
I need some sunshine.
Remember that photo I posted the other day when I was looking out the window? I mean, that was like a rebirth. All right, just one more photo to show you. So this that you can barely see is a C1. It's a C-141 and an Avro Vulcan bomber from the UK on the Midway Island flight line. I do remember that as a kid. That's why I always had an infatuation with them. But the Mac flight is the one that you got on and off the island from. We used to call it my mom called it the doggy flight because it's the one that also brought in the dogs if you wanted to bring your dog. On the back, she wrote, so this is my mom's handwriting. It's on the back. I love it. The plane standing sideways is our Mac flight, no windows, and it flies backwards, so the seats must have been backwards. However, the earplugs are complimentary. The other plane is the Brits Vulcan. So anyway, I'm telling you this because I was a total mess after I looked at these photos, and I've got to share them with Dee Dee too. I was a total mess because a lot of this stuff I was like, oh my God. And just seeing photos like this one of me as a basic trainee with an actual chin and a neck, that looks good too. Wow. So, but I was just a total wreck after I saw these things. I was melting, man. It was crazy. And so I had to text or message my aunt right after that. I'm like, one, how have I never seen these? But two, it was just great to sort of catch up with that. And I'm looking at a lot of these and I'm like, I don't remember that. Most of it I don't remember. A few things I did, but most of it I don't remember. So it was just kind of great. Do you ever get kind of hit like that with the feels?
Yes. Even now, just and PJ's gonna comment on this. And I took the comments down. Sorry.
By the way, Matt Davis is here tonight. I'm excited. Now, I hadn't seen Matt in a while, so it's good to have Matt here. Go ahead.
Hey, Matt. Things that'll happen, I'll be watching a show and it's a father and a daughter, and I'll go, I'll start getting a little blurry-eyed and things like that. I haven't seen my daughter in about a year and a half now.
Right.
And that was unexpected. She was supposed to be here for Christmas. That's why I'm not really celebrating Christmas this year.
Yeah.
So Christmas Day is probably going to be really tough for me. But get through it, just like you always do. So she's doing great things where she is in Oklahoma.
Yep.
Thought she had COVID for a couple of days until she got the test back. So that was hard for me as well. But yes, when you ask things like that, I've got one of those big, we used to call them Holy Joes, only this one doesn't have the holes in it, of childhood pictures of me with blonde hair. I had blonde hair as a kid. And, that kind of thing, and just the memories it brings up and that kind of thing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I get hammered by those things quite often. Yes.
And and I'm not as sentimental, I think, as I used to be. I'm older, right? So that tends to wear off over time a little bit more. But some things you are more sentimental about, right? Some things you aren't as emotional about. Some things you aren't as emotional about. But this was something I was just like, seeing all the young people, like even my stepfather, who I did not like at all, to be fair. It was just seeing all of that was pretty well. Hey, there's Daniel Nathaniel, like 6-time bracket winner. Daniel, by no bracket tonight, by the way. Daniel Nathaniel's here, but yeah, just that sort of force of nature that it was totally unexpected. I guess that's the best way to say it, and it was probably one of the better gifts I've ever been given in my life. So, you are listening to and watching the second try at This Show is a JK tonight. We had a bit of a internet issue, and I'm going to have to talk to Matt Davis about my in-the-wall internet things because they are not working well. I think it just overheated and dropped the internet, but probably not. Again, we're here once a week. We are off for the next couple of weeks, though, so that we can rest and regroup on the other side and try to come up with a new look, a new style, just sort of get our video and audio thing together. Audio thing we're pretty consistent about that, but just sort of getting this right and doing all that and making sure we're both comfortable with the format. So. Join us on iTunes, Spotify, right here on Facebook for now, and we appreciate that you're here. Again, 8 viewers, welcome back. Great to see Daniel and PJ and Ray. We are thankful for all of you, and Dad, and Matt, and Connie, and let's see who else is on here. Just the regulars. George Brown, a great regular. We always appreciate George. And all the regulars who show up, we really appreciate it. And we know there are some lurkers too. We appreciate all of you. And we'll get to our soppy thank yous toward the end of the show. Let's talk more sports.
That's what I need.
George said.
I just need a lurker.
George, yeah,
that's what I need.
You are a lurker. George said OU versus Florida just announced.
Oh, really? ESPN is saying OU Texas A&M.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
But you said it was just announced?
Yeah.
Okay.
George says 8:48 p.m. OU versus Florida just announced. Yeah, overheating happens pretty regularly. Yeah, I can't use wireless. Just go with wireless up here because it's such a friggin' concrete bunker. All right, so back to NFL. The Bills, the Buffalo Bills, Joy Josephson's Buffalo Bills, clinched the AFC East for the first time since 1995. Now, to my recollection, since the Patriots went on their dynasty streak, I think there was only one or two other teams that won the division. I think one was Miami one year. And then I think the Jets might have clinched the division one year. But other than that, all right, Ray, we'll get to that in a minute. But I think that's it. So it is fairly interesting that the Bills have done this. It's also interesting that, New England is on the downside, right? And it shows, New England to me shows exactly what a difference a great quarterback can make. For sure, no question. With a smart, courageous quarterback at that position, a drop back quarterback, not even a running quarterback. They just won and won and won and won and won. The big change for New England is at quarterback, and Cam Newton has been doing an adequate job, but not fantastic. George said the Cotton Bowl, by the way.
I've always thought Cam Newton was overrated.
I don't think he was overrated before he started getting – the NFL just started letting him get killed. I think I was so excited for Cam Newton in the NFL. He's like 6'6", incredibly strong arm. When he wants to be, he's incredibly accurate, and he can run. But I think what happened is the NFL sort of got lackadaisical on some of the calls against him specifically, and he just got killed before some of the new rules came into place. I mean, he just got killed. And I think that led to more injuries that we know about. I think that led to concussions. I think that led to a degradation in his abilities. And I don't think he is what he was when he started, when he was at Auburn. He's always been a sort of run-first guy, but when he does pass, he was pretty amazing when he passed. But now I think he is just sort of not a shell of himself. I think he's more than that. But just the last 3 or 4 years, he's kind of like the Dallas Cowboys in terms of full games. He kind of has a great game, and then he sort of, does whatever, and then he has a great game, and then he sort of doesn't for a couple games, and then he comes back and has a massive game. I guess it's the consistency, right? So I don't want to dwell on Cam too much. But then the other teams that's sort of losing its consciousness right now is Pittsburgh, right? I didn't realize this, but when you look at their record, they haven't played anybody worth a shit. And when they started playing people worth a shit, they started getting beaten. And so that's interesting too. Raiders are out of it. That's too bad. They've got a lot of injuries. I think they're still in a rebuilding phase. I'm excited by what they have, but I think this year they're best going to be 8-8, maybe a wild card shot. But I think it's interesting that Derek Carr went down and Marcus Mariota got to come in. I hate to say it about Derek Carr, but I think Marcus Mariota is kind of the future. So, what are your quick NFL observations?
Really?
I've got Miami and New England on in the background. Yeah, I think Derek Carr has been great, and he's actually one of our leading passers, but I just don't think he has the the thing that Peyton Manning has, the thing that Tom Brady has, the thing that Drew Brees has, the thing that Aaron Rodgers mostly has, the thing that Patrick Mahomes has now. There's just a sort of an X factor of courage and gravitas and balls and all the rest of it that sort of make you next level winner. And he is a fantastic quarterback, but he feels very much like Dan Marino. Dan Marino is a fantastic, technical, awesome quarterback, but he didn't win shit. And he went to the Super Bowl one time, and they didn't win that either. So, again, those are just my opinions. And as a Raiders fan, of course I support Derek Carr. I do, but I think it's time to move on.
I never would have thought of that comparison, but that is very apt as far as those kinds of. And I hate to say this, I'm afraid Dak is kind of in the same lane as Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott for the Cowboys.
Right.
We'll see what happens. I mean, he was having a fantastic year because he had to.
Right.
Because the defense absolutely sucked in the beginning of the year.
Right.
Now, if we being the Cowboys, because I'm on the team, if we had Dak right now, we would be leading the division by several games.
Right.
If he was playing, the defense was playing like they are now, which is just above mediocre, but that's good enough in that division.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's very, very tough to be a football fan right now because, again, going back to the whole COVID thing, I get mad when, so-and-so is out because of COVID. Right. And I go, how the fuck does that happen?
Right.
When you've got 16 weeks to worry about your job. That's
Totally.
it, 16 weeks.
Yep.
And you can't keep your dick in your pants or not go out for a drink or whatever. Stay away from everybody and stay healthy for 16 weeks. Are you frozen or? Oh, okay.
No, I was doing my Keith's on a rant face. Let me do it again.
Like that's new to anybody. But I mean.
No, you haven't been on a good rant in a while.
Or hundreds of thousands of dollars at the low end. You're making hundreds of $1,000s a year for 16 weeks. Or millions of dollars a year
no kidding,
for 16 weeks. And you can't do what you need to do.
Right.
What we've been doing since April,
Yep.
because neither one of us have gotten sick.
Right.
And most of the people we know haven't gotten sick, but they can't do it because they have a reputation to uphold. I'm going to the club and I'm paying for every, blah, 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 or I'm doing this or I'm doing that. And granted, it's mostly the younger people who are. The
NBA had the best luck with the bubble thing, and they're getting ready to come back in another week. They're getting ready to start the season again. So, I mean, kudos to them. But I didn't watch one game because NBA's on in prime time, and I don't want to watch a game that I already know the score to. So, all right, last thing from me. I just rearranged. So many of you are used to seeing when we did live shows together, Keith and I sitting on the recliner. Uh-oh, I think you're going down again. Are you there? Oh, you're there. Okay, good. You looked like you froze for a second. I was like, and then we'll get to worst Christmas gift.
You wouldn't say it like that.
That's what she said. Then we'll get to worst Christmas gift ever. Then we'll say our goodbyes and thank yous and all of that. So you're used to seeing us on the recliner right behind here, but I'm so I'm a person who likes to change his office around every 6 months. I don't know why I do that, but at some point I feel like I'm not productive. I'm just in the same space, so I rearrange my shit. Well, this time, Denise and I kind of agreed that this setup really didn't work. The setup that I originally had when I first came in here, where this space here is kind of my, the area I've pissed around and made my man cave. So all of this with the B-Wing, and the Captain America, and the Yoda, and the big picture Annabelle, this is kind of my, this is my zone. Over there is my daughter's desk where she games and plays, and then the recliners are back in front of the TV, so it's like a home theater deal. But I do this every 6 months. I'm hoping I don't do this again. So whenever Keith and I go back to live podcasting, we'll have to figure out a different arrangement. But this is kind of where we are now. But anyway, it's amazing the amount of shit that I have in this office and what I've gone through just over the last 2.5 days. And I've had time, fortunately, but so much stuff just to go through. And I've put a bunch of books up in the attic. I mean, just what you see is what's left over at this point. And I finally got my friend Tom Feaster's lithographs that he drew and signed for me a while back. Those up. I'm really happy about that. So anyway, that's been my weekend mostly, is getting this back into a comfortable sort of. Plus, I've got the drafting table here, which I need to start using to draw more and things like that. So my friend Dan would be happy with that. That's it. I know you've got no rebuttal to that, but I just had to get that out of my system.
I've got no rebuttal to that.
All right.
I changed my bedroom around once since I got here.
Right.
I bought a new piece of furniture. It was a huge, I guess what the Germans call a shrunk wardrobe kind of thing.
Correct.
Happy or Merry Christmas to me. So that's it. That's it. I don't change things. I mean, I change my living room around every once in a while, but I can't hear because of plugs and things like that. Right. So let's get on to Ray's question.
Matt, I don't think you know the full story about that particular Kleber move. I just seeing you type that makes me laugh because I know one of the moves and why it happened, and it really makes me laugh. But anyway, all right, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you going to say? What?
Ray's question.
Oh yeah, worst Christmas gift ever. So we've had some entries. Let's go back here. Let's see. Matt says, blonde hair dye for my oldest son. I was not really amused. Stupid gift for a bald guy. Let's see. Anybody else weighed in? No. Okay, so no one else has weighed in. Worst Christmas gift. First I want to say I'm always grateful that anybody thinks of me to give me any gift. So,
exactly.
Right. So that's first and foremost, and I'm happy about that. I'm trying to go through and think of the worst Christmas gift I ever got. And I can't think of one because I don't, the worst gifts I probably got are things that I just kind of go, oh, okay, and I don't use, or I set aside, or I don't integrate into my life fully, or something like that. I don't go, this sucks. This is a terrible gift you've given me, right? So I just can't think of it in that capacity. But there's probably plenty of things where I was like, okay, thank you. And I've sort of put it to the side, and then it probably ends up at a yard sale in like 6 months. So that for sure, that I've done. But I can't say that I have a specific honed in shitty gift. How about you?
The gift I remember, and I'm trying to find a picture of it so I can post it on the JK Facebook page.
Right.
I'll do that after the show here.
Yep.
Is I loved it. Everybody else hated it. And PJ and Ray may remember this because I wore it as a Halloween costume one year. Mm-hmm. It is, the old flannel pajamas like the cowboys used to wear.
Yes.
With the flap in the back.
Yes.
I had.
Like it's a onesie.
My parents got.
It's a onesie.
My parents got me and my sister a pair of those. One of those.
A pair's fine. I think it's fair to call them a pair. It had an OU on it on the chest. Oh, so on the flap?
In the corner. It was an OU. Yes. So I loved it. Of course, the picture I'm going to post, my sister's going to hate.
Nice.
Because she's like looking at the camera. Now look at this. Look at me. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain now.
It's yeah. She's like looking at the camera like this. And I got this big smile on my face, right?
That is outstanding.
And so I'll post that picture here as soon as I can find it. Page. But one year for Halloween, I think it was PJ that gave me a holster and a fake gun.
Oh, I didn't give him a real gun?
Hat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I think it was a BB gun. But I had a cowboy hat that was my own.
Yeah.
And boots that were my own. And I had the flap pinned open. Do you remember the beer called Red Dog?
Nope. Red Stripe, the Jamaican beer. I've never heard of Red Dog.
It was made by Miller.
Sounds shitty.
And we knew the Miller rep, PJ and I. So he gave us flashing lights. I had a Red Dog. So I had I forget, shorts, some kind of shorts, glow in the dark shorts. underneath. So I pinned the flap open with these shorts hanging out,
Right.
with these red dog flashing lights. And, look, me, skinny ass, weighing about 120 pounds at that time in 1993, maybe.
Yeah.
That was my Halloween costume that year. I loved those, that, as you say, onesie. I
It's
have
a
no idea what happened to
onesie.
him. I
You
guess
know
I
it
lost
is.
him in a move. It's got to be a onesie, yeah. Yeah.
All right, so I don't want to like duck out of this. So when I was a kid, I was pretty ungrateful. And I mean, for sure, I was pretty kind of selfish. And so pretty much every year, my grandmother would knit a sweater. And she would knit
Oh boy.
out of like,
Ralphie,
yeah, she would knit these
go
things.
put on the pink wrap
They
suit.
were like heavy and things that like you couldn't wear to school or you get your ass kicked, right? So that was what was going to happen. So I inevitably would think of these things coming and go, fuck, don't they know to get me like an Intellivision or an Atari cartridge or, something like I was really into gemstones as a kid. I would have taken like a rock collecting set or so, but it was always, a knitted sweater for my grandmother. And I'm like, fuck. And I'd put it on and the thing, I mean, it's like, it's like when you put on, I don't know. It was just like Atlas, holding the world up. And I was like, Jesus. And they were hot, instantaneously hot. And so, I wore them while they were there. And then I didn't know what to do. So, that was one of those things I thought was the worst Christmas gift ever when I was a kid. But looking back, obviously, that someone put the care and the time to make you something, which I think is another next level sort of thing, is a big deal. So, all right, what else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I see. Ray remembers that costume one year. And Matt, you're absolutely right. I
Keith
know
likes
exactly
to show
what
off
it
his
is.
butt, not at work.
It's long underwear. Well, we've talked about that before. So that's about all I've got. What are your plans? I know you are of the not of the Gentile faith, but do you have any plans for Christmas, New Year?
Well, they still allow Jews time off, so that's a great thing. So, so I work tomorrow, and then I will take Tuesday and Wednesday off. Thursday is given to us, thank you, current administration, and then
Yes.
Friday would be a federal holiday anyway, and Christmas. So then, whatever Saturday, whatever Sunday, I'll go back in on Monday. And what I told my boss was, he's like, "Why are you coming in on Monday? Why don't you just take the week off?" I said, "I have too much anxiety not to come in on Monday and figure out the week before I go on leave. So I have to be in the office, or I'll lose my shit." So that way I can sort of take care of email and say, "Hey, I'm leaving for the week. If you need something urgent, because I'm still going to be on the phone. I'm going to be here, right? We can't go anywhere." But I'm just going to sort of, it's at the beginning of the show, Daniel. You'll have to listen to the open, and there's a lot of spoilers in it, so we're not going to recap it. But beginning of the audio show, Daniel, you'll be able to hear all of our Mandalorian stuff. So I have no plans. I want to finish cleaning up this room. I sort of want to take inventory on a lot of my creative projects. I'm trying to get this novel written online. The online part doesn't matter, but I'm trying to get this new novel written. I'm trying to get the work done on Vorpal, get that drawing done and over to my colorist, Mike Montalvo. I'm trying to also in between sort of draw a new comic, but I also want to get I want to get this show figured out going into the new year. So I like having a lot of irons in the fire. It's just with the job that I'm in, as you know, I just really haven't a lot of mental capacity to sort of focus on any of it, and I've let a lot of it lapse. I've let a lot of little things lapse, which is very unlike me. So that's going to be my time off, is just sort of resetting all of that, re-energizing a lot of those things, and really trying to reset myself in a way where I can get up earlier. I could set time, schedule or firm times in my schedule to, like, that'll be a writing block, that'll be a drawing block, that'll be a this block, and honor those, because that's what I don't do is honor my time commitments. And so I want to do that, and that's kind of my commitment to myself. I don't know that it's a resolution. I'm not really into resolutions. Like I made that resolution like a week ago. So it's just something that I wanted to do. I don't like time in general. I don't believe that. I mean, I get that people see the new year as a beacon of sort of, okay, that's my marker. That's where I'll start, right? And I fully support when people want to make a change. But I think what New Year's forces you to do is it forces you to sort of say, well, I have to lose weight, right? And so I will use New Year's to do it, which is, I think, the worst thing you could do. Why not just wake up tomorrow and go, hey, I need to lose weight, and I'm just going to start now. So I'm going to, eat less and move more, which is the best way in the world. Eat less and eat more of the right things and move more, which is the best way to lose weight, which is something I desperately need to do, and we're starting on that path too. Really, PJ? I wish. Is there a punch icon? There isn't a punch icon I could send to PJ. All right, whatever. So, my bigger point is, and so I've had a couple of philosophies. Is one, if there's a thing that you want, and you're an adult, you don't have to wait till Christmas to buy it. Go buy it. If you have the capacity, if you want a thing, go buy the thing. You don't have to wait till Christmas. But if okay, there you are.
I was just going to say that's the problem as an adult as for Christmas shopping, because my parents, my daughter, me, we all say, I don't need anything. If I want it, I'll go buy it.
Right.
And that makes Christmas shopping tough.
I don't think it does, because if you got me like a $50 Amazon gift card or whatever, I'm good. So again, I've always just said if I want it, I'm going to go buy it. The second piece is.
Yes.
On resolutions, if I want to do something and I want to commit to it, I'm going to start right then because it's important to me. I'm not going to put it off, right? I will sort of plan it out and then start doing it, right? So like with losing weight. Losing weight has been very tough for me. I've tried over the last 3 or 4 weeks to start and stop. But it's been challenging. There's been a little stress at work. There's been a lot going on, and I really fucking like Oreos. So, it's I have to sit and say, okay, I need to find the right sleeping and the right planning and all of that. But my bigger point is you don't need to start New Year's with a resolution. Just do what you want now. You've only got one life to live. It's short. Do the thing you want to do right now. Make a commitment to it right now. Get it on your plate right now. And if New Year's helps you mark it, fine. But maybe December 20th is a great marking spot too, because you can mark time with that too. My iPhone tracks December 20th as well as it tracks March 1st or January 1st. Okay, so that's my rant on resolutions and gifts. So if you have anything else, then I'll start getting to thank yous and goodbyes and all of that. So go ahead.
Now, as I feel resolutions, why should I make a resolution? I'm going to be the same smart ass that I'm going to be next year than I was this year.
Right.
So, what can I say? Get more exercise. I say that every year. Build up my little scrawny ass chest. I say that every year. And yet here I am, 50 years old. And, just the same, I woo girls with my, I woo women with my my bad talking and there's a word for it and I can't think of it. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's how I woo women, with just my bad
the fact that you say woo women is why you can't woo women.
That's right. Hang on, I'm posting that picture. I found it.
Good.
As spoken about on
Really, you're gonna read us your caption? All right. So let me get to a few things. So, and then the rest of the floor is yours, and I'll stop talking for 2020 on the show. So, I guess the first thing is, do I want to lose weight? Yes, and I will. I just have to. I think the light at the end of the tunnel is coming for me on a lot of things that I can free up my mind and do some things. So that's great news. I've got a lot of creative commitments that I want to keep. Am I going to do those as best as I can? But I've always had in my entire life, as my dad will tell you, I always try to have too many irons in the fire. But I do try to pay 100% attention to them. So sometimes I just have to ease back and go, you know what, I've got to stop doing that thing. So I want to do that. I want to be you always want to be a better human every year, right? You always want to be you always want to act in a capacity where, the humans who are in your circle, you want to take care of them. So I always want to continue to do that. And then finally, I have no control over this, but I just want to fucking get out of COVID. I want to, oddly enough, I do want to travel. I want to go on some trips. I need to get out of the house and do things. And again, I'm a homebody, but this has really done that. So my last thing is, first, if you have consumed this show, watched it, listened to it, whatever, first, thank you. This was kind of done on a lark back in, when did we start? March or April or whatever? We just sort of
Late
said
March or early April. Yeah.
Keith was a broadcaster. I have some broadcast experience, so I figured we could both keep you entertained for at least an hour each week. Our biggest challenge is sort of we throw it together at the end of the week, and we're not as good at planners on that. So we're going to work on that. But I want to thank you all for supporting the show, for all the commenters, as I said earlier, who come on, and if you're a listener. I want to thank my wife and my daughter, who've been amazing and supportive, and while they do their things and allowing me to do all this nutty stuff that I do. I want to thank my coworkers, Keith, Stefan, Aaron's gone, but Aaron, and then Becky, who was here, who's moved on to another job, Petra, Burned especially, who's thankfully recovered from COVID. Thank you all. It's been a fantastic year. I'm appreciative. I want to thank my mom, who's passed away. Rest in peace, Mom. I miss you. And I want to thank my dad, of course, who I don't speak to as often as I should. But then he goes and says things like, my best Christmas present is knowing all my children and families are doing well. When you get older, you do get sentimental, believe it or not. And he said, I may act like it. He says, I may not act like it, I'm sure is what he meant to say. So, listen, thanks again. Merry Christmas if that's your thing. Happy Hanukkah if it's past. Festivus is coming. I've got some grievances for sure. But listen, I love you all, and thank you so much. All right, floor is yours.
Well, I'll start off with local. I appreciate, as you said, the coworkers. I tell you what, they have to put up with us because
do they ever
riff off each other and they put up with us, and so the people you mentioned, great people. I mean, I couldn't have got more lucky to come into a place just not on a whim. I really gave it some thought, leaving Oklahoma to come here. But a job I had been in for 14 years to come here, and I couldn't have gotten more lucky with you, with Stefan, Petra, who's also in our office. She's the host nation, the local national, who is fan-friggin-tastic. Of course, in Baumholder, Burnt. The Erin you mentioned, who helped train me as much as she could on the website. I am not in any way, shape, or form a webmaster. Matt can tell you that. And we had this goal laid out. Every week we were going to start doing this. Take a couple of hours a week until she left in July, starting in March. Oops. And then COVID happened.
Right.
So when I went back to work in late April, we had basically May and June, but then we both had jobs to do, our own jobs. Hers was the web, me was writing stories and some Facebook and just all these things. Plus she was out process. So props to Erin for doing what she could. And I've muddled my way through a lot of the website, which I'd never done before. So there you have it. Burnt who is a one-man shop in Baumholder. The man's been with public affairs in Baumholder, part of the garrison before it was a garrison, for 37 years. The man is fan-freaking-tastic.
And if I could cut you off on that for a second, Keith wrote an amazing story about Burned and the museum that he's creating in our headquarters building. Burnt is a force of nature in terms of keeping up with that community. He knows it all. He does it all. He's pretty fantastic. I will post a link to Keith's story on the page myself when we're done so you can see it. It's a great story. It really is warm and compassionate. It tells a lot about him. It's got a pretty good photo, too. So we'll get that on. I just wanted to say that it was a great story you did. So please press on.
Yes, thank you for the photo, and that was fantastic. My parents, who I think listen or sometimes don't listen, sometimes do listen. Mom, keep your head up, and everything will be fine. Dad, just keep being you. I find myself listening or sounding like if we talked earlier tonight, actually, and I said something. I said, "Oh my God, I sound like you," to my dad. So I love that. And of course, my friends, PJ, Ray, other people who listen to the show. Connie, thank you. You have to get Randall to start listening. And of course, there's a lot of people I could thank, but number one and first and foremost is my baby girl, my daughter Cassidy. She's the reason my heart beats.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say about that. Kitty cat. So that's it. Thanks for everybody who's listened to the show. Thanks for, as Jason says, the lurkers. I noticed that we had 73 views on last week's show. That's not our top number, but that's more than the 4 or 5 we had watching live. So if you join us late, if you join us on a different day, thank you. Share it, please. We do this because we like it. We do this because we get along. We may even do a real live radio show later this week. So thank you all. Thank you for listening. Thank you again, as Jason said, to the people who join most weeks, the Matts, the PJs and Rays, the Daniel Nathaniels, because you have to say his name twice. I know John Benutzowitz will chime in when he can. He's in a new time zone now. So, thank you all. Have a Merry Christmas. If that's, as Jason says, if that's your thing, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Festivus, or if you don't celebrate, have a great day. Have a great New Year. And wear your mask, watch your distance, and wash your hands, please, because it's not fake. Thank you.
I can't say it any better than that. Happy 2021, everybody. I think it's going to be a great year. 2020 has been a great year since we're able to do a lot of great things. There's been some bumps in the road. But I'll just say thank you. All the best in 2021. Keith? Good to have you, buddy. I love you, man.
You guys take care. Jason, it's been a pleasure for this year. Let's keep it rolling. And hopefully 2021 will be a much better year for everyone.
All right, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.